Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Newcastle United 1, Everton 0. The Blues suffer a third successive defeat in very disappointing circumstances. Joined by John Blaine in the studio today. Another disappointing night, Ped, for the Toffees.
Yeah. I mean, no shots on target. One shot off target, no shots blocked. That to me is pathetic. I don't care how you dress it up. I don't care if people want to talk about overreactions or whatever. Loads of people went to Newcastle last night on a Wednesday night and had to watch that. It's dross. That's utter dross, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care how far of the season is, that's dross. And Newcastle aren't even that good. They're better, they've done better, they're more organised. But to go there and not have a shot on target, for the second game in a row, again, same fans who went to London on Saturday night and had to suffer the trains not being on or getting back at whatever time, would have went last night. And that's pathetic. That's pathetic from the players and from the manager. And, you know, whether you want to talk about improvements or, you know, not getting on the backs of people, that's sound. But we're here to discuss it, and that is pathetic.
Well, John, you did go to both of those games, Tottenham and Newcastle, and do you agree with what Ped said?
It was dire, yeah. It's not disappointing, it's frustrating, I think, because you can see teams who we should be getting stuff off, and we're not. It's just awful. You don't buy a ticket, you don't get a prize, do you? Yeah.
I mean, what?
You know, I think I caught the end of your Live at 1, was it, or whatever, you know? You know, Live at 1.
Yeah.
Professional football teams going, what was it, 2 games with 1 shot sort of thing. It's crazy. Crazy. And you watched it last night, and the 2 alleged wingers that we have who just doing cute little turns and playing the ball backwards, you know. It's ridiculous. It really is. And I caught your 1 o'clock thing where you got people saying, well, is the manager telling them to do that? Well, if the manager tells me to do that, which is fundamentally saying the manager's saying, don't shoot, don't cross the ball, I tell him to off. Because if I'm a player and in my head I've got to try and remember that the manager said, don't have a shot. And that's not what happens, is it? You might get it drilled into you, and therefore it's a bit like that whole muscle memory thing where you don't know you're doing it, you just do as you're told. But it was awful. And I think you're right, Ped, when you say Newcastle are nothing special. You know, we've lost games to the teams who are currently 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and we could and should have got something out of all of them, to be honest. And I've watched them all live, not just down the lens of an editor choosing what you or director choosing what you do or don't see. But some of those players, they certainly shouldn't be playing the weekend, and they do just need to wake up a little bit, because we will slide into the pressure that we had last season otherwise.
I think for me, we've played Manchester United, we've played Tottenham, and we played Newcastle. We've had 1 shot on target, and that was Iwobi's goal, by the way.
Wasn't bad.
Who actually had a shot. Yeah. Rather than stop and pass it wide, he just thought I'm hitting it, and he's put it in the top corner, and we've gone 1-0 up. Now, okay, we can discuss whether we should have gone on in that game and got a better result, but then we went into the Spurs game, and 2 lads have had 3 shots at the goal and blazed them over the bar. But we played a whole second half of Tottenham without having an attempt at goal. And we've gone to Newcastle 4 days later, and played 90 minutes, and I've had 1 attempt at goal, which was a header over. I mean, I was fuming last night with the way we played in the final third. It was embarrassing. This is what the manager had to say about how he saw the game.
Performance okay. I thought it was a tightly contested game in general play. In our clinical nature in their box, were we as clinical enough as we should have been, considering how much we played through them and played through their lines and received it beyond their midfield? No, that's a reflection for us. But other than that, I thought against a good team it was a close match in general play, possession wise, and disappointed that we didn't have that more effect in the box, because I think at that point we can easily draw or win the game.
Yeah.
That's nonsense. What he just said there is nonsense.
Clinical.
Well, let's be honest. Go on.
Bit of what he said, I agree. I think we were in the game. I think defensively we were fine. I think the midfield was fine. The final third, clinical.
Yeah.
That's nonsense to say that.
Totally.
Because that's, to me, is when you've had 10...
You're wasting chances
Yeah,
rather
you're
than
missing good opportunities,
Yeah.
and you go, oh my God, if we'd have... Like Saturday, we could say we needed to be more clinical. We had 2 runs in on goal, and we've blazed them over. That's clinical. Last night wasn't clinical. It was no bravery.
No, that was poor last night, and I think what we've seen in the last 2 games is, you know, the chickens have come home to roost in a way. You know,
the recruitment, you mean?
No, we played when we played Southampton, when we played West Ham, and the early games, we didn't really make any chances either. But we were sort of happy because it was in the early stages. We weren't losing games on that run. We scored the odd goal, and we got something out of the game. But this stuff was still there. But we all did what fans always tend to do, is we turned a blind eye to it. But not just because we were getting decent results, but because it's the early part of the season and you're watching something evolve, and we changed to 4-3-3. But I think in the last 2 games, certainly in the last 2 games, it's standing out now. And I thought last night stood out more than any, just because Newcastle aren't that good. I mean, they had a centre-back, a big grok of a centre-back playing at left-back, and no one thought it'd be a good idea to try and take this fella on who turns like the QE2. Do you know what I mean? No one, like our wingers last night were a disgrace. There's a couple of videos going around of them. Anthony Gordon trying to keep a ball in play by doing a Cruyff turn, and Damari Gray basically walking the other way as Almiron has a shot. And if those 2 videos don't sum up those 2 wingers this season, I don't know what does. The attacking third football is it's abysmal. It's like strangers on a Sunday League pitch at times. The other end's not too bad, and Conor Cody and James Tarkowski are doing a decent job for us, and again last night did everything they could to stop Newcastle. But the other end, it's horrendous. Like some of the worst attacking play I've witnessed as an Evertonian.
Which for me is a head scratcher, because we've got, as a manager, someone who was brilliant in that. It was his thing. When you think of Frank Lampard playing, you don't think of Frank Lampard winning tackles and going beyond 7 men with amazing dribbling. You think of him getting the edge of the box and banging one in, or arriving in the penalty area. It was the thing he was fantastic at. Very good midfielder, don't get me wrong, but the thing he's remembered for is pot shots, isn't he? Bang, we've seen it at Goodison quite a few times. He'd just pull a goal out of nowhere. And he has improved. With the recruitment, we have improved. Like last season when we got beat by Newcastle, and you were there that night, once they went in front that night, it was game over. It was like, they just bossed it. They were too strong for us. I never really felt like that, apart from about 10 minutes last night after they scored. They had a couple of opportunities to make it 2-0.
Which is always the way.
Which is why they're on the high, and their crowd are obviously brilliant for them, aren't they? They get them going. But, like Ped's just said, the final third stuff.
But have we improved?
I feel like when you watch a team, you're assessing the team. I feel like we are a stronger side than we were last year. I look at us and go, if we had something, if we'd have had Newcastle's final 3 last night, top 3 last night up at the top end of the pitch, we'd have won the game, in my opinion. That's how it was. They were better in the final third. We just haven't got those players. And the other thing is slightly concerning, is that we're not even trying to make the most of what we've got. Like our shots have gone down and down and down and down and down in the last few games. So where we were, we're currently averaging 1.1 shot more per game than we did last season. But that's just based on, because the first 7 or 8 games we had quite a number of shots, not millions, but like Forest at home we had 19, and we had 15 at Southampton, and Liverpool we had 40, and then we've come to play like Newcastle, and we've had 1 attempt at goal all night.
And the opportunities are there
to shoot, absolutely.
Because when you're watching the game live, I mean, I think you were asking when you're making the coffee, what did it see?
Does it feel like we're not having attempts at goal?
And it does.
When you're there,
and the same behaviours flow through into they don't cross the ball.
Yeah.
It's almost like, my job here is to stand myself up so I can play the ball backwards. Which means, Seamus or Mikolenko end up with it.
Yeah.
Roby had a poor game, but was never on the ball, really. So centre mid is a challenge, because you've got people who like Onana will be a player, but at the moment he's not aware of what's going on around him.
Yeah.
And you've got, Damari Gray costs what he costs for a reason. Yeah, he can dance past players like they're not there, but he can also disappear for an hour and a half and you don't even know he's on the field. I actually turned to my nephew near the end when something happened up the other end, on the right hand side. Oh, shit, I forgot Gordon was still on the pitch. And he just needs to look in the mirror, that lad. Tweeting, we go again.
Oh, nonsense.
Knobhead. Sorry. Absolutely sorry, because was it last week we were talking? It was probably you saying it, I think. But last year he was the trigger player for being committed and what have you. Now he's the player I used to see in the youth team who stood on the touchline waiting for someone to give him the ball so he could do some tricks and did sweet FA any other time, So the manager won't pick him, will he, at the weekend? He can't, in my view.
But he will, though.
Okay.
He will, though, because the manager protects him. The manager protects him. This is the problem.
The manager just hoping that spark will come back?
Maybe
you have to draw a line in the sand eventually, don't you? Because the time for him to have a think about his performances was when he had the game off, wasn't it? Yeah.
I don't know how you can look at a player who's got the most bookings in the Premier League and think, I can bank on this kid. There's something not there. I mean, we should have sold them. I don't care what anyone says. We should have sold them. The opportunity to make serious money out of a player who's not that good was there, and we wasted it. But he, as I said, Damari Gray's exactly the same. They don't feel like the team players.
No.
They don't feel like they join up with other players.
They
the
don't.
fullbacks don't go past them. I don't think they encourage the fullbacks to go past them, and that's been missing since Patterson's gone out the team anyway. I mean, like you just said, you're waiting for one of them in midfield to sort of spark as well. I just wonder whether we've tried to evolve too quickly from one thing to another, and it's hurting us at the final third. And of course, we've had Malpay in the team, and now we have got Dom in the team, and listening to the manager to back him.
But you have to earn the right.
Yeah.
And you earn the right by doing the basics, and each individual player doing his job. Now, does Anthony Gordon last night and Damari Gray last night, did they know what their job was? For me, it was beat your man, sling the ball over. Let's see how long DCL lasts before he has to go off, right? But none of that never happened.
No.
Well, never happened.
Anthony Gordon had one attempted cross which he didn't complete. Damari Gray apparently completed 3 out of 3 crosses, but they weren't crosses where we were getting into the right area. Everton, the both of them have finished without an attempted goal, obviously, because the only attempted goal we had was, in fact, one of Damari Gray's crosses was the corner that Dom headed over, which to be fair. So we put one in an area which Dom could attack and we had an attempted goal. Okay, well, there's a game plan then, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I put the ball into that zone, this fella's actually quite good in the air, we might get a goal from it. And I think sometimes, I mean, you might be right, but we might have gone ran before we can walk a little bit. I don't know.
Well, sorry, I don't get that. What
no,
do you mean?
what I mean is, we
started the season with 3 at the back. 3 at the back, but basically 5 at the back, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then
so that gives you solidity.
And then we change a couple of plays, and suddenly we're playing 4-3-3, and
which I still think's the right.
No, I do, but then it's like you're staying compact, and maybe you're trying to get forward with your wing backs, and that didn't necessarily work as such. We are better playing 4 at the back, but I'm not saying we're wide open now, because we're not. But we're not sort of anything at the moment. I don't think we are defensively brilliant. No. But we've got nothing going forward. So I just wonder whether he's not saying he's you've got to transition from one thing to another. It's just that you watch the patterns of play, and I don't see any patterns of play. No. So therefore, it's like we're set up to play that defensive way, but the team shape is to be more attacking. So it's like, where are we? What are we trying to do? When we played Manchester United, we set up in a 4-3-3, but I thought we were massively too defensive. And then we go to Spurs, and then we go back to 5 at the back, and yet we have a couple of chances. So I think it's very weird where we are.
I think players in different parts of the ground as well, the pitch as well, so it creates a bit of space. It was very narrow last night, wasn't it? Very congested.
The way I look at it, we're trying to nurse Dom through this period. The manager said on his press conference after the game, they're not letting him do shooting practice in case he gets in. I know exactly. They're having to be very careful with everything they do with them. And
The opposition area, you're saying that.
yeah, well, there you go. So, you know, the managing.
If he got clattered last night and stayed down and then got up, that'll have done him good. Ooh, I'm still in one piece.
It's all part of it, but they're not letting them do that. But Dom is obviously massive for us because we haven't. Maupai's not at the same level as him. Right, he's a squad player. But the problem for me is the two wingers are the issue.
They are.
And whether whether Dwight McNeil comes on, he's an issue as well because he's got no pace. But what Dwight McNeil might do is actually cross the ball. But I think the manager, the coaching staff, the team, when they all sit down, need to come up with a different thing that's trying. I think we have this idea that we're going to play through teams, through midfield, and we'll feed it into our wingers and we'll cut them up. But that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So I think what Everton needs to do is very quickly realise that the two lads we've got occupying the wide areas that haven't got goals in them really, they don't beat anyone. They like to stand the defender up.
Pick someone else then.
So either pick someone else or give them the job and go, right, lads, this is our best form of attack for now. It's not where we want to be in 2 years, granted. Not even where we want to be.
Very simple instructions for very simple people.
Exactly. Not where we want to be next year. But right now, we're not having any attempts at goal. We're struggling to create anything. We've got a lad who's fantastic in the air. Let's get wide and put crosses in. Let's knock some long and get midfield players running past them because he'll win most things in the air. And let's see if that improves us. Shoot on sight. It's all basic stuff.
Well, yeah, we were talking about this. Do the simple, you know. The other frustration, disappointment, whichever word you like, was just that, which was while DCL was trying to find his rhythm and stuff like that. There was no assumption in our boys that he's going to win this. No. Or if he doesn't win it, it's likely to be an over hit. In other words, playing off and playing behind, whatever. But that's all about commitment. That's all about being, prepared to put the clicks in. And if we've got two fullbacks, which we currently have, who are both petrified of going in, go catch a nosebleed if they go past the halfway line, then you're still going to have your solid, back four instead of a three looking like a five or whatever. So they've got to fucking work harder.
Of course.
They've got, so the two wingers have got to almost operate like wing back stroke wingers, right? But they've got to work harder. They've got to do, and Anthony was doing it last season. That's how he made his name, by doing it. And then the flashy things of drifting past people and doing turns all looks even better, doesn't it? Course, right? Yeah. But I'm assuming, and I would agree with you if you are, what you're thinking is a Damari Gray who's a particular frustration because he never lifts his head up and so on, right? So don't lift your head up, lad. Drop your shoulder. As soon as you've got the opportunity to cross. Yeah. Which is what McNeil would do. Cross.
Yeah, that would do.
And if DCL's on the end of it, fantastic. If he's not, I'll be shouting at him next. But as soon as DCL or whoever's supporting him knows that's what's going to happen, okay, the opposition will know as well. But crossing balls like that, particularly old-fashioned from the dead ball line type thing, has been a thing for a long, long time, and no one's cracked how to fix it.
Best team in the land.
Yeah,
do we?
And the only thing you can do with that is stop the cross, right? That's the best way. Not the only. So drop your shoulder. Both of them can go past players instead of dancing along the penalty area looking for a chance to shoot, which never comes, judging by our stats. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Go the other way and sling the ball over.
He done it one second half, Gray. Got on the halfway line, fella coming, skipped past them, went into the box, cut it back, and okay, we miss it.
Yeah.
If they got a connection.
But if you do that 20 times, they don't miss 20 times.
Of course they don't. And that's what I'm saying. Now it almost feels like it's time to play the percentages. Now we get to January and the checkbook can come out and we can go, there's this lad and we should be doing that groundwork now, and I'm sure they are. But we get to January, you can bring them in.
Shots did they have last night? 15 or something?
14, I think.
One goal.
I think they had 3 on target or something.
One goal.
They got the goal, but they've had the shots.
But if you simplify that, 13 of their shots didn't result in a goal.
No,
we only had one shot, so it's not a surprise we didn't score.
We didn't score, exactly. They're 3 on target and 1 in the net.
Yeah.
So let's try and get 9 on target. Hey,
exactly,
you might get 3 goals.
Yeah.
That's
their goalie has a blinder.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And I think if we'd have sat here today, Everton having had 15 attempts at goal, Nick Pope making 4 or 5 saves, we'd have gone, you know what, we can see we need a forward. We were all right there, but the frustration is, I think this is what's really scared Ped again, is that lately we just look like there's no clue what to do, and arguably the most important bit on the pitch. I mean, we were talking before saying, it was like when we had Martinez, And we had players who could get you 3 goals in a game, but sadly we knew we'd be letting 4 in at the other end because he never arrested that problem. He never knew how to deal with that issue. So there was times when the goals were enough to win us the game, but there was plenty of times when them goals weren't. And now we've got a defence that can keep us solid and we stay in a game, but once we lose a goal, everyone goes, well, we haven't got a goal in us. So that's it.
The opposition know that as well. Right. But it's all about, it's balance, isn't it? Is that what you mean, Ped, about moving too quickly? We went for, we're not going to concede goals early. It's so easy, right? Yeah. And hence a lot of draws, I suppose. And then he says, we have to transition the way we're playing a little bit now to be a bit more offensive without compromising
the defensive stuff.
The defensive stuff. And it hasn't really compromised it much, if, you know, maybe we are, I don't know. I think
still the 3rd best defensive record in the country.
Well, yeah, is that on goals conceded?
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
It's about chances given up though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, well we do give chances.
But last night, again, watching it on the telly, and I've not seen it on the telly, in the ground, watching it in the ground, I don't recall thinking they had lots of, the 14 or 15 shots, they weren't high quality shots really.
Don't.
You know what I mean? So where we've been giving up good chances and conceding goals, you'll know if you've looked at the stats, I don't think we give up huge, big SG type things last night.
Not really.
We're still solid.
They had quite a few shots from outside the box.
Yeah,
and the one that
one
of them on target was a header from Wilson, which Pickford caught here, and the other one was another one which he caught here. That was it. Yeah. He didn't have to make any great saves, right, Pickford. It was a great goal by Almiron, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I've not seen it on the telly.
That was a great goal, but I mean, let's talk about the goal, because I thought Newcastle come out nice and bright like you'd expect in the first 5 minutes.
I thought we dealt with it okay.
But then Everton kind of got hold of the game and they were controlling the midfield area, other than the fact that when we broke forward, we were just giving it away, and then they carried the threat on the counter, obviously. But both teams, it was quite even really, and then Onana has been caught about 5 minutes before the goal. Just like thinking he can stroll around with the ball. He steps out with it, lovely, goes by one.
So slow,
and it's like, oh, I've got all the time in the world. Instead of going, no, actually it's the Premier League, and he come running back at you. So when he got caught the second time, and he's throwing himself down looking for a foul, you know, but we said this, didn't we, about Iwobi and Ghana. We give the ball away in their half though, so, you know, there's other things come into effect. They break, no one stops the cross. For me, Seamus Coleman has got to do more. He's got to jump at Josh Murphy when that ball's coming down. Don't let the lad just have a little cushion header. Cody does well, gets in Wilson. And then Garner has to do 3 doggies to try and block the shot. He comes here, it gets past, he charges that down, it gets past. He can't make it over to Almiron. Exactly, for some people. But like you just said before, Damari Gray's walking the other way.
Yeah, but
it's a great goal
I think
Almiron.
It comes from, for about 5 minutes before, players just going down too easy, little push and go. And Onana for the goal showed that. It was like, that gets their crowd going. The players are telling them to get up, they're winning the ball back, and we're going down like, we look
no
soft.
Sense, Ped. They've no
That's
effing sense.
what I mean, John.
If you're up in the bloody gods watching this thing, like little Substitutions men down there, you know, and I know he's from Teesside, so it probably would favour us rather than favour them, the ref. But you get the feel, this
ref
ref's
was all right,
yeah, but you get the feeling, don't you? This ref's not going to give us anything, right? So don't go down soft on everything. Gordon does it, you know. Oh.
But it shows weakness to me, though.
It does, yeah.
It shows
I think he should bounce back up again.
The crowd love it because they're like, get up.
Yeah.
And then we're all flapping and throwing our hands up in the air while they're breaking. Yeah. And suddenly you've got a mismatch around your pitch, and Onana's still down there. Players, and it's too much. Onana does it, and he's done it before. Gordon does it. Damari Gray's terrible for it. Little shove, and they expect a foul. Yeah. And the game's going on.
The lad only went like that.
And the game's going on.
He went, get up, and he's like, I got pushed.
Yeah.
Like, and
the game's going
on your arm. Get up.
The game's going on around them, and it's a good finish. But Damari Gray, like you said before, got his head down, got no idea what's going on the pitch, doesn't care because the ball's not at his feet. And Gordon's exactly the same. Yeah. And it's a good finish, but the lad just walks onto it like it's slow motion. And as soon as he leaves his feet, you know where it's going, because it always ends up there with us for some reason. But poor.
I'd like to think, well, we saw it with the Iwobi, you know, against United. You give Premier League players that amount of time from that distance, and
They're wrong if they don't score.
He should at least hit the target, which
Yeah.
is what he did. It was a lovely.
And it wasn't right in the top corner though, was it?
Loop, didn't it? When he left his foot, I thought it was going over, and then it just dipped.
Yeah.
But it's again, if there's no pressure on the ball, Premier League footballers, and Almiron's a good little player, and they hit the target well. But you're right. You said it before when we were talking, and it was right. Is that we dampened down the crowd? You'll know this because you were there.
We did.
It dampened down the crowd. Then the next minute we're throwing ourselves on the floor.
To some extent,
we love it at Goodison when that
Yeah,
happens. Don't we?
yeah.
When players start rolling around. We love it, and it
Gives you something
it
to-
raises the level, and they're brilliant at it. Newcastle, it's a strength of theirs. So what you have to do is calm it down and make it as flat as it can be.
I mean, Tully scored, and even for the remainder of the first half and stuff like that, the only thing they were doing was booing Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have got a weird obsession
Yeah.
with Pickford. That is mad.
No, they were waiting for
It
us
was
on the way out as well to give us all that.
Oh, it is a bit mad with
Yeah.
Pickford. It's a strange thing. I know
Weird.
they don't like him, but
Weird fans.
I think they've moved on a bit as a club. I don't think they need it. Booing with his name's read out or whatever, but it is a bit mad.
What about when Gordon went over and ended up getting booked? Was it Trippier who come over to him in his face? He come from a distance.
Yeah.
And instead of just standing off and walking away, he gets another
Gordon
booking.
shouldn't have been getting it. He should have been laughing at Trippier,
Yeah,
because
that's what I
I
mean,
would
yeah.
just laugh at him.
Yeah.
Cairn Trippier,
Yeah.
the name to yourself. But I'd have just, Gordon, no reason to get involved. He's gone down, the lad shoved him in the back. If they'd been given, see, that to me was just the equal to Harry Kane's penalty at the weekend. It could have been given. It would have been a soft.
It's
It would have
obviously
been a soft
the
one.
opposite end from us, so we
But
couldn't
it
really
would.
see it.
The lad pushes him in the back. He does push him in the back, and he's
Yeah.
running. If you give it, you'd have gone, yeah, it was a penalty because he's pushed him. I understand. I'm not.
So VAR wouldn't have turned it over.
No, I don't think so. But Kane done it
VAR
on
looked at
Saturday.
it.
Kane done it on Saturday. Kane fell over. He was falling before there was contact Saturday, and you go.
But it's
Well-
one, I think you're right, Ped, by saying VAR looked at it. The Kane one, you'd like to think if the ref doesn't give it, neither does VAR, sort of thing. But sometimes it's so-called.
But Anthony, what Gordon's got to do there is he's gone down. He's felt a shove and gone down. I mean, I personally, if I was running onto it, I'd have
stayed
been
down
trying
for
to
a
get
while.
I'd have got the shot away though, because the ball bounced. And the keeper was
Yeah.
Pope was there. He could have shot, and he's expecting the contact, which comes. And Byrne does give him a little shove. It would have been a soft penalty, don't get me wrong, but there was a push. But get back up. You've gone down. Get up and just go like that to the ref.
Rather
That's
than
not a
have
foul.
hurt and all this.
Is that not a foul? And the ref goes, no. Okay, he pushed me, fair enough. And jog back. Why is he getting involved? If Trippier comes over and shoves him, go down then, he shoves you then.
Yeah,
If you're going to go down and
Yeah.
make a meal of it, let the player shove you then and do
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah.
Because arguing, he's never going to go to Trippier, are you? You shove me and Trippier's going to go, did he? Oh, all right, sorry, mate. Is he? Because he's come over.
Give a pen, ref.
Yeah, whereas when he bounced over to Trippier and shoved him away, he kind of put his head down and walked away like, oh, I'm not arguing with you. Tarkovsky was in it.
Yeah.
But Gordon's got to get up and get on with it. Just get up and get on with it.
But he should be able to, as you say, just laugh at him. Because he's only up to about here.
Well, you
aren't he?
just, if someone comes over, you laugh anyway,
Of
don't
course
you?
you
You just
do.
go, what,
Get
mate?
over
He
yourself.
shoved me.
Yeah.
I thought it was a foul. He hasn't given it. Get on with the game. Just get on yourself. But, Newcastle then had a good spell after that for about 10 minutes where I thought they were going to get a second. But then Everton kind of got a grip of the game again. Joe Linton's lucky not to be sent off. Should have been sent off.
Well, he should have been sent off.
He's been booked, and the second one is a booking. It's a clear booking. And we had it with Anthony Gordon in the second half. He should have been sent off in the second half for the same thing.
Yeah, obviously I only watch them when they play us. But they've put some professionalism into the way they play as well, haven't they? They're always crowding around the ref, even for innocuous things. Then they kill the time with everyone who bloody loses the ball, falls over and holds his head. And so I'd love to know what the in-game time was in the second half, but it wasn't very long,
But people Trippier's brought that, and obviously brought it from Atletico,
Yeah.
wasn't he, with Simeone,
Yeah.
where he's been there. But I've got no issue with that.
No, sorry, I'm not critical of it, because they were one up and they just killed the game, really.
But I thought, we got in at half time. We've had that one attempt at goal from Dom, the header, which I think in a couple of weeks he might score that with time and all. But you're disappointed the second half, the way you've watched what's unfolded. You're 1-0 down. You're thinking we've got to go with it now because we're chasing the game. And there was just nothing, was there?
I was used to
I was just bored second half. I was just bored.
But you knew, didn't you, we were never...
Once it went 1-0 up, they'd won the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I was bored. I was just bored and watching football. I mean, what I couldn't understand was there was just huge pockets of space all over the pitch for both sides to pick the ball up and run into.
In the second half particularly.
And I think they did it better than us, but it was, we were picking up the ball and midfielders, and you get it to the same people, and again, it might sound like I'm picking on them, but Anthony Gordon and Mari Gray, just utter shite. Just utter shite. Like, I'd bomb Anthony Gordon to the under-21s. I genuinely would. For me, that lad is just... It's just noise and hype. And all this Chelsea thing, for me, has ruined any kind of chance he's got to settle down and get his head down. People know... And the diving thing last season played a part in it. Everyone wants to know. There's stuff on national radio today about him. 100. How on earth could this lad think he's getting 100 grand? We had it all when it was the £60 million. 60 million for him? Are you joking? It's all just gone. No, I don't think it's gone to his head to a point. I think it's all just. There's too much in his head in a way. It's created too much noise. Before, when we were saying about last season, I disagree slightly with. I think last season he worked really hard, and anything he did come from the hard work. I don't know, but what I mean is, I don't remember him doing any great tricks or skills or Cruyff turns or anything of this. Everything he did just came from hard work, working harder to reach that ball, to get past that player. There was nothing skillful about it in terms of like, okay, yeah, he was, dribbling and stuff, but there's this thing he's added to his game which I don't think is natural. I don't think he's a naturally skillful player. I think he's someone who gets to the ball first at times and then says, right, I'll knock it past you, I'm going to beat you because I'm going to work hard on you. Dan Burns was keeping up with him. Like, Dan Burns, he's about the size of me.
He's a lot bigger than you, mate.
Well, I'd tell you what, I'd go for a foot race with him and I think I'd have a good chance.
That's what I mean, he's a lot bigger than you.
And I'm thinking, why are you adding these things to your game that aren't part of your game? Your part of your game is you work harder, and with your speed, you're moving a different direction, quicker. You don't need to bring all this other stuff in. And all this noise has got into his head, for me, and it's not needed. The Mari Gray on the side is just massively frustrating. As you said before, John, plays for us for a reason. We got him for a price for a reason. He's still, and you look at the numbers, still our best attacker by a mile. Yeah. Because he does put the ball in the box. He does occasionally have a shot. He does. You look at Anthony Gordon's numbers, it's just 0, 0, 0, 0. At least with the Mari Gray, it's like, I'll put the ball in 4 times, or I'll attempt to dribble. I'll do 5 dribbles and do 3 will be successful. Yeah. Gordon, those numbers just don't stack up. And that's where I think someone needs to get a grip on him at the club and go, what are you doing? But because Frank's gone all in on him. The minute he said he's not going anywhere, blah, 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 he's gone all in on him. And I don't think he's got a choice now. And yet, Dwight, I wish it was Dwight. Dwight McNeil, who I think is just a massively limited footballer, would probably do better on the left wing, just throwing balls into the box and helping Michalenko. Because that's how appalling I think these two players are at the moment.
They're certainly at the moment, form-wise, they're both not on it. The Mari Gray's hugely frustrating because, like you said, when he wants to, he can just go past them players like they're not there. But
and that's why he'll always
should be doing it 10 times a game.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he? Go wide, put a cross in. Go wide, put a cross in. And the thing is, occasionally, if you do that 4 times, on the 5th one, you can come inside and have a shot. They're not expecting it. Where you watch a fullback now, they're not expecting him to go past them because he doesn't really do it.
Well, in the league, they don't expect it because most wide men cut inside, don't they?
But it's just flat, isn't it? Like, that second half was just flat.
It was.
The time just ticked and ticked and ticked. They put 6 minutes. He played 7 minutes, and we did not do a tap.
Imagine us 1-0 at Goodison.
It'd be like,
we wouldn't be able to get out of our box.
We didn't do.
We'd be smashing it up in the air and everything.
Yeah. But going back to what you said just then, again, the subs. Can we have a different manager during the game? Because his subs are terrible. Genuinely terrible.
Mate, that could be a thing.
His in-game management is, for me, just me.
Monday to Friday manager.
It's just
weekend manager.
I say it all the time. I've been quite consistent on this. I think him and his team set the team up nicely. They know what they want to do. But when that game starts,
well, my mate who's a Derby fan.
Jesus Christ.
My mate who's as a Derby fan as we are Blues type of thing. And he would say about Frank, he sets the team up well. they try to play
If it
proper
goes
football.
to plan, it's great. Yeah.
But you always have to be ready for, and he did two things. One was, I'll do right to left shit substitutions, and the format of that was random selection decisions. So they'd see the Derby team and think, what? How's he playing or how's he not playing?
Well, I mean, we haven't had much of that because the simple fact is he doesn't have a lot to choose from. Simply because, again, what we did in the summer was all just first teamers, genuinely.
And the players coming back from injury.
Some of the subs just... How Anthony Gordon stayed on the pitch. He was in the first off. I had to drag them off.
Half time, he should have gone.
He could have been sent off, couldn't he?
Yeah.
He should have been sent off.
And he could have gone. Some managers, perhaps so-called better ones, might have pulled him during the first half.
Well, Joe Linton got taken off by Eddie Howe. I'm not saying Eddie Howe's better or worse. I'm just saying he took him off for half time because he would have been sent off.
I mean, the proof is that Eddie Howe is a better manager. But one of the things I'd say, even if you want to look at it from a... People go, oh, you've got an issue with them. I do have an issue with actually that, Nicole. I do have a massive issue. I have a massive issue with them. I do. No, I've got no problem saying that. I have a massive issue with them.
We had an argument a number of weeks ago.
No, I know we did, John, but that was because
I'm
really, really good at filling time on deadline day. And also because just the...
You mean you were lying?
Just the science of football of like, normally have to give new contracts
and
to
he
people.
had just scored 2 goals in 3 games.
But even just from a football point of view,
reminding him.
just from a football point of view, right? If you know... Because this is what's the mad thing about the subs, by the way, if anyone's going, well, what should he have done? If you know you've got a centre forward who's only going to last 60 minutes to 70 minutes, and you've got 2 wingers who can't get the ball to him, then guess what? Get a winger on for 25 minutes who's going to help that player. Don't go, see that centre forward is really good in the air. We're going to take him off and bring on the only winger we've got and put him on with the fella who can't even put the right fucking socks on. Right? No, like,
pre-watershed.
And this is where I'm talking about.
I was like this last
But this
night.
is what I'm talking about.
Tell me about it.
This is basics.
We're there. I'm fuming at this stage, right? It's got 70 minutes and my dad's already said to me, you've got a cob on tonight, haven't you? Because I did have a cob on because I kept saying to him, 40 minutes, I haven't had a shot, and then he comes on and went, now we've brought someone on who can't even dress himself. You know, and he's like, what? And I went, look at his socks.
Maupai, right?
I only knew that at 1 o'clock.
Maupai is a split striker. He's somebody who's going to play off Dom.
Yeah, right? You know what, though? Right, like, you carry on. I'd rather see him wide. Because I think he might look and go, well, he can head it and cross it. But carry on,
I think he's, like I said last night on Twitter, and again, of course, I think it's a waste of money. Because for me... Maupai, because the way we play, Dom's supposed to be our centre forward. If you're going to have a filler, he's a completely different player. So what's the point? But if you're going to have Dom on the pitch for the moment, we know the manager said after the game, he's struggling in training. We're not doing certain things with him. We're nursing him through. What's he good at? Well, he's good in the air. And you know what? You get him up front, you get some good crosses in, and you say to Damari Gray, get behind him. Because if it comes over from the left, and he goes, and the centre back has to give him a little nudge or something, get behind him like you were at Southampton to Dwight McNeil, and you'll get a shot on target. No, we take our only centre forward off, who's good in the air, and bring on our only winger who's good at crosses. How could that to me is mental. just even from a basic football point of view, forget all the stats and numbers and all that kind of thing, the XG of the world. That to me is madness.
Yeah, I suspect McNeil's the one who was more likely to do as he's told as well.
Yeah. You see, the thing is, this is what I meant before when I was saying simplify it. Right? You're looking at it, when you're constructing a team, you think, right, this is how I want to build my football team. If you're playing in a 4-3-3, because that's how football's developed, most teams who play in a 4-3-3, their wide players add goals. The best ones score goals and score a lot of them. Cities, Liverpool's of the world. Man United, they've got goals in them. Teams like that, Tottenham and all that. Exactly, Spurs are a brilliant example of it. Like, we've got 2 wide men that don't score goals. Right? So, okay, you go, right, all right, we're going to play a 4-3-3 and they're not really goal scorers then. So what's our strengths? We've got a fella who's tremendous in the air if you put balls into him. Even if he doesn't score, he causes issues.
He does.
Other people can get goals. And we've got a little striker who's not going to score great headers, but he's not quick either, so he's not going to run through. So how are we getting him chances? Well, by putting crosses in, drive them across low and say to him. So if I'm the centre forward and you two are wide and I know you both cross it, my run is just get in the zone, get in that area waiting for you to put it there. If I look and go, John's going to do 94 step overs here and
make the runs.
I'm not going to cross it. Why am I running? And that's why if you look at Neil Maupai's average positions in the last couple, Tottenham, his average position was in our half while our two wingers were up on the edge of their box. He's never going to score a goal in a million years. And last night I haven't looked, but I imagine his average position was somewhere on the halfway line because it won't have been on the edge of their box. So that kid's never going to get a goal for Everton because we don't create. We're not even doing the basic thing, which is Dwight McNeil crossing the ball in. And we bring him on when we take Dom off. Well, there is that kind of
So where are you
thinking.
then? Because you're talking about basics and trying to have shape and second guessing whether the manager does have a thought of how he wants them, or if you could see how the manager wants them to play and it's just not working.
That's a different
one
thing.
step up from where we are, right?
Yeah, of course.
But I've got my own inbuilt bigotry that you can't have Gordon and Gray in the same team at the same time.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I can't agree.
Right? So one or other of them doesn't get or doesn't start.
Yeah.
So who just start instead?
But that's the problem.
Well, Matt, right now, for me.
Because you've already said in the last 10 minutes maybe Maupai.
Yeah,
out wide,
maybe, but how I would start Saturday was, I've resisted this for a few weeks, but I would play Alex Iwobi on the right. And I'd play one of Damari Gray or Anthony Gordon on the left, or Dwight McNeil if that's so be it. And I put James Garner in midfield because I think we need something a bit different in midfield. He
always looks lively.
Lively, gets on the ball, great of set pieces, puts a nice cross in. I'd try that next because I'm with you now. I looked at those two and just think you can't play in the same team because neither of you create anything for us.
But you also get the indirect benefit if let's say in your setup, it's great that you start at the weekend.
Yeah.
So Gordon's sitting on the bench thinking, he's my competition.
That's it.
And that should have always been the case, though, Joe. That should have always been the case because they do the same thing. You have to have something a little bit different, don't you, at times? Yeah, because especially when you've got quite a static centre forward. I'd be working down the next 2 days with Dwight McNeil on the left, just saying, shape some crosses in for Dom. Let's get your time and right. At least then we've got an outball. When we signed McNeil, I compared him with Kevin Kilban. A workman type player who probably will end up at left back. But he benefits from having centre forwards who big in the air, Duncan Ferguson types of the world. Someone he could just get a ball into, fashion a set piece now and again. And I think McNeil's the same. You've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin there coming back, and it might be a case of this is a tactic, this is an outball. You just throwing half a dozen crosses into this box, like you said before. Dom will get on the end of one of them. He has to. Otherwise, what are we doing?
Well,
and then on the other side, you have someone with a bit more tricky, and that might be, at the moment, you might have to go, these two are dross.
Yeah.
And do us a favour, go out there. And Alex Iwobi will do it. Get Garner sent to the park, James Garner, and say, he's going to be the metronome, he's going to be the player in and out, get it back, start shaping how we play. Because that's the other thing in midfield at the moment. We don't have someone who's just gets hold of the ball and is comfortable. And slow.
If you've done that, right, and again, I don't really want to shove Iwobi back out into other areas, but the thing what Alex Iwobi is doing, particularly while Coleman's in, is he offers that protection because he's so hard working. But he has got a pass on him, Iwobi.
Asking him to do the job for the team, really.
Yeah, he's doing that. It's what you can do then is you can have almost James Garner and Garner Gay as 2 6s in a double pivot if you want to go all, tactical.
But if you look at...
what you'd say then is you'd say to Amadou Onana if he's playing, when it's wide, get on the edge of the box because when that cross comes in, out. You and Dom going at it, they're
just his presence,
6'5", 6'3", and then Damari Gray.
Just his presence in that area was disruptive.
Exactly.
But if you look at our revolving, because we're talking about the manager now, aren't we? It's drifting into talking about the manager really, and what he should be trying to do, and be a bit more pragmatic. Yeah. If you look at our revolving door of managers, the two most pragmatic in some sense would do exactly what you guys are talking about. Allardyce and Ancelotti would be saying, "There's the asset.
Create for him."
Feed him, feed the yak, and he'll score.
So you go to you've got to have a default set now, and you spoke about this for years.
It doesn't mean it's long term.
No,
it doesn't. Frank could be going right, we'll do this till January, and in January I'm getting this player or this, Kudus has come and we've agreed that,
we don't know.
Using there's no, I'm just using a name.
Yeah.
But you go, right, we'll get him, because what he does actually is, not only does he get goals from wide areas, he's quick as well, so we've got him and we can play through the lines a bit better. We haven't got it at the moment. We haven't got the solutions in the club, but there's players who you can get more out of. If I'm great in the air, cross it to me, it's not.
Well, I haven't seen the obviously, because stupid o'clock when I got home, right? And I've actually done some work this morning, so I haven't seen it on the telly, but I did see on Twitter the little thingy of Frank and Potter sort of interviewing each other on Amazon last night. Did you see it?
Oh, yeah, the Brentford versus Chelsea.
Yeah, Brentford versus Chelsea. So,
it doesn't mean Frank Lampard, it means Frank.
So I beg your pardon. Thomas
Frank.
Sorry. And they had Frank and Potter, and they sort of sprung it on Frank. You can ask Potter a question, and vice versa, sort of thing. And the question he asked of Potter was, "Why do you keep changing your formations and everything?"
Did he?
Yeah, and Potter's long-winded answer was pretty much, "Well, I don't." Yeah, because what we're trying to build into our team is flexibility. And so, the personnel might change and it might look like the formation's different, but the core underneath it, which is your go-to, doesn't.
Never changes.
It never changes, and therefore everybody knows what they're really doing, but the opposition might not see it that way because things are moving about a bit. And so Frank does have to have his go-to, because that's your in-game change then, isn't it? If it's not going as you thought, right, reset lads, we do this, and this 3/5, 3-4-5, isn't it? 3-4-5 at the back. What's your starting preference for that, and what do you change to when either you're trying to close a game out, or you're under pressure, or you just feel like a change, or whatever. And I think he, as a youngish, immature manager, his in-game decisions aren't great, are they?
Going back to the subs last night, again, another thing, they
were quite late as well. Yeah.
But someone like Vinagre, we've seen very little of him.
Yeah.
What's wrong with... Michaelenko was terrible last night. He was terrible.
We're chasing the game. He's not getting forward, is he?
He was terrible. So why not for the last 10 minutes just say, right, this left back is pure attack.
Yeah.
And we're 1-0 down. We might as well lose 2-0 like we did on Saturday. We did the same thing. Why not just throw him on and say,
that's what we've talked about this before.
Stand some up.
We've talked about this before, and you rightly were saying, Vinagre, you just said it, he doesn't do a lot of defence. Let's call him a modern fullback, he's better going forward than anything else, right? So, but once you're in that situation, and you've been with a 4, so we're losing, let's drop to a 3. He comes on, allegedly, as a left-back replacement, but actually
he plays higher up,
Yeah, overlap, go past the winger, whichever's on that side, whether it's Gordon or Damari Gray.
Option,
right, and just disrupt them a little bit.
Took Seamus,
but all that had to happen whilst you're still within the window that DCL's still going to be on the field. And DCL went off after, for me, stood up in the crowd, and we're talking, particularly with Mathew and all that sort of stuff. Got to make changes at half time. Let's see who it is. You then spend 10 minutes debating it, and the first thing Lee said after the players come on the pitch, because we came out a bit early compared to them, was no changes then.
No.
So that's back to the nothing's going to happen until an hour.
That's the thing with the manager, though, isn't it? That a lot of the time, I think that comes down to a manager's ego. If you change a play,
I got it right first time.
If you change plays of 45 minutes, you're sort of admitting you've got it wrong, rather than letting it develop for 10, 15 minutes. But the game just petered out. And don't get me wrong, we were better second half. We had more of the ball. But if that ends up with the same result, not scoring goals, not having shots on target, not any attempts, full stop, then is it really better? Is it better at all?
So we were just checking exactly when the timings were, right? So we're 1-0 down away from home. We started the first half, quite the crowd down to start with, had plenty of the ball, didn't look threatened, they scored. They had 5, maybe 10 minutes of hoo-ha, and then it's half time. Right, but we're losing. It's like the whole game plan for his subs were just played around how long can Calvert-Lewin last.
Oh, it was. He made
not what's going on in the game, how long can Calvert-Lewin last?
71 minutes.
73, it says.
73, okay.
So why not after an hour?
2 subs at 73.
Yeah, 2 at 73, 1 at 79, 2
why
unused.
not on an hour? Just say, for 10 minutes, let's throw Dwight McNeil on and just throw ball after ball into the box if we can. If we can get him the ball, start putting the ball into the box and see what effect it has on the game, and we don't. That's I mean, I think I've said this from day one with Frank Lampard. I think his in-game management is got a lot.
It's not great.
It's got a lot to be. Leaves a lot to. I'm trying to be nice.
No, he's got to improve. That's what you can say. It's got to improve.
But he has other guys. I think with him.
Yeah, they're all there. They all should be going. Listen, let's try this. I think you've got to. I think right now you can have a long-term plan. And I'm not saying he should riff up his long-term plan because he's got his own beliefs and how he sees it, and they'll all see it, and there is improvement being made. But when there's a glaring thing that's going on and on and on, you have to look for ways to combat that. We can't do anything in terms of bringing in.
Yeah, but you're more lucid than me.
January.
You're more lucid than me on this sort of thing because you play to a decent standard and all that stuff, right? But am I being utterly naive that managers or coaching teams run scenarios, say, if this happens in a game, we do this. If this happens in a game, we do that.
That's what you'd like to think.
Because we don't see any evidence of that, do we? You know?
That's
don't
what you'd like.
I think a lot of
them.
I think a lot of them are so
rigid.
Because that's what you're saying. I'd pick the best team, the right system. Why would I change it?
You know, the managers. A lot of managers are so confident in their game plan that they say they just look at when it works, right? And when a lot of their plans work, it's great. You'll see managers who pick a team, it works, and you go, brilliant, tactically brilliant. Some managers are really good at changing. Howard Kendall, the great Howard Kendall, will change it 4 times in a game.
Because is that because he's which he was, a very good manager, and therefore perhaps part of being a very good manager is, like any manager in any whatever industry you're in, being prepared to listen to the hand-picked experts you put around you.
Don't get me wrong, he got better as he got older.
But no,
Frank probably will as well.
He's got Colin Harvey sat next to him, right? If he doesn't listen to Colin Harvey, then Colin Harvey's a waste of time.
Well, the last fella we had disregarded everyone's
that's what I mean.
But ultimately, though,
even the fella who was allegedly his best mate,
that's what I mean,
would say, let's do this, and he'd go, we're not doing that.
But ultimately, though, like you've said quite a lot. It comes down to players once you cross the line.
That's cross the line.
If you put a plan out on the pitch and the players don't stick to it or something goes wrong, Dominic Calvert-Lewin got a stupid booking early on. No one can account for that. That stops him. He might think, my timing's a little bit off here. And actually, a little bit later on, he done another foul, where it's like, if you went on a yellow, that might have been a yellow. Anthony Gordon does the same thing at half time, and the manager's thinking, I know he's got another one in me. Come and sit down. Like Joe Linton. Eddie Howe doesn't want to take Joe Linton off, but he knows I've just got away with one there, and you're not getting another one. And it might just be a case that player might be a little bit, come sit down, we've got a replacement there for you. It gets taken out your hands now and again, doesn't it? It's not your fault. If Frank Lampard had made a sub at half time, none of us would have gone, Frank, you got it wrong. Stupid management. We would have gone, yeah, Frank, because actually he's not doing it and he's not doing it.
But the thing you can do with your narrative is, instead of hauling Gordon off because he's cack, the narrative is he's on a booking.
Yeah.
He's on a booking.
With the crowd.
He's on a booking and he's frustrated. And you know why he's frustrated? Because that was a penalty and he hasn't got it. Why hasn't he got it? Because his reputation. And I'm sick of this. And I've had to just take my player off at half time because of that narrative, which he half said anyway after the game. He said the narrative is why he didn't get the penalty. Yeah. Go all in, if you're going to go all in. You can say that, but see what you're doing. You're just going, fuck, you were terrible, lad.
Not only that,
Dwight's going on.
He played the whole game. and he's the one, when I look at that team, he's the one I think he's likely to be sent off. He's likely to be sent off because there seems to be no off button with him. With like looking and thinking, can I get this ball? Now last night was slightly different. It was a reaction and he reacted to something. Instead of just getting up and walking away, he reacted to something he's been booked. But other times, like, you see him flying into tackles and you think, I'm going to get sent off. And he should have been sent off. He clipped the lad in the second half.
The Man United one was just...
Well, exactly. I mean, that's it. Something's got to change, and hopefully it will. Let's have a look at the stats. I mean...
Oh, we got stats.
There we go. 16 attempts at goal for Newcastle, 1 for Everton. 4 shots on target. 1 big chance for Newcastle.
More passes?
None for Everton. Everton had more passes, 50-50.
How can it be 50-50 possession if we had more passes? How does that work?
I'd seen 51-49 to Everton, so I don't know what that is. But
it is 50-50.
It is.
It is. Everything's 50-50. But
I'd seen on a lot that it was Everton had more, 1% more.
No.
But anyway, I mean, that's more than we normally have. We normally have about 4. I think the possession has improved this season, so there's clear evidence they're trying to do something different. It was around 38% this year, it's 44% on average, so it's gone up, but creating chances, that's shot. Every time I see it, I honestly can't believe it. You know, my age, I'm thinking, I don't know if there's any other game I've been to where we've had and watched Everton where they've had one attempt, and I've seen Everton get walloped.
There must be a database somewhere online.
There must be, where they've had one
Ned,
attempt.
find that database.
One attempt at goal. One player, just before we finish, who seemed to split opinion last night, and I don't know why. I gave him man of the match. Some people disagree with it. Is Idrissa Gana Gueye, who was Everton's best player, in my opinion, just over probably Tarkowski. A few people disagree with it, which is fine.
What are you, Ped?
Everyone's.
I thought the centre-backs were better, but I didn't think he had a terrible game. I think he got booked for something stupid. And that was the only time. And that probably is what does inform people's minds of like, oh, he's lost the ball, he's pulled him back, it's a yellow card. But he only did that once.
Yeah. And then, so let's have a look at Garner's numbers anyway. There we go. 89 touches, which is more than any other midfield player on 89. The pitch. 86% passing accuracy, which again is more than any other player on the pitch. Tackles 5, which again more than any other player on the pitch. 2 clearances, and he won 70% of his ground duels, which again is more than any other player on the pitch. Therefore, there is this like narrative: he gives the ball away, he can't keep the ball, and yet he proved last night that those numbers proved that.
So how many touches did we have as a team in the game?
I don't know.
Not for right now, but
no, we can have a look. But he had easily Everton.
Well, passes we had 412.
That's what I mean. It passes equals touches,
89 touches from him alone, which is he broke up so many Newcastle attacks.
So if you play a pass to me and I miscontrol it really badly and it just bounces away, and then I go and get it, is that 2 touches?
I don't know. Okay. But your passing accuracy wouldn't be 86%.
No, I get the pass. I just wondered what the correlation was. To me, he fills all the holes. I mean, if you take him out, then yeah. Exactly. But I do think, and I've got some mates as well who have a focus on, because he did it, you know, a couple of times this season that caused goals. They're just really sensitive to when he has his one missed pass or whatever it is. 14% of the time he doesn't pass it to one of our players. They forget the 86% time when he does. Yeah. I think the other thing that seemed last night, watching it live, was you just washed over you guys when I said it before, so maybe it didn't show on the telly, but a lot of activity seems to be really with our players close together. So there are lots of short passes with their boys around as well, which was just making it all hard and difficult. No one finding space and making the pitch bigger.
When you watch the training, that's all it is, isn't it? Rondos, short, passing in tight spaces, when really you should try to make the pitch as big and wide as it can be, so you've always got time on the ball. But I just thought I had to bring Garner up, and I've gone back over his numbers because someone...
Well, watching it with my eyes, I would...
Well, exactly, I just done my maths reaction and just spoke about what I'd just seen.
Okay, I've not seen it.
I didn't even look at the numbers. And then I went and thought, oh, hang on, let me have a look at his numbers then. Maybe I've just seen something different, and all the numbers backed up everything I'd seen. And then someone told me today he gives the ball away all the time, so I went back over the games.
All the time.
And his thing's always 95%.
I was going to say, he always has high 90s, high 80s.
High 80s, early 90s.
I think where he plays, because he sits right in front of the back four, I think if he does give the ball away, it always feels like they break. And I get that.
Would Everton be better without him in the team? I don't think so.
But it's where you lose the ball.
People are just more about Tom Davies then, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, it's Tom Davies, or it's Alan, or it's there, or it's him, or it's that. No, but that's who it was last year. Can't play him, too slow, gives this away, leaves his position, can't play the court, he gives the ball away, there'd be no one who people would be happy with, to be honest.
You know, I know he's played for PSG or somebody, but his job is just to get the ball and give it to someone else.
Exactly, just stop.
And if you look at the starting 11 that the managers picked last night, then the players he's supposed to be giving it to are Iwobi, who got hooked, and the 2 wide men who we thought were awful. So...
And Onana, who's actually his pass accuracy was better than Bruno Gomes by some distance. So
he's getting some stick as well.
Onana, too slow on the ball. Needs to open those legs up and just go.
Because he's not a slow player.
No, he's not. He's just. I don't know. He's finding his feet in the Premier League, and And
Just
you know,
gotta
he didn't
realise
play
you've got
loads when he was in France. It's just a case for him of finding his feet and playing at a slightly higher tempo, and it's just not quite there yet. And if someone does put pressure on, stay on your feet. You're not going to get fouls in the Premier League. You're just not. And someone has to like drill that into him. Stay on your feet.
Show that you're a big physical unit so people don't mess with you.
Because people will start smelling fear.
Go down, just laugh
All that'll happen is playing in midfield, people will just start leaning on him. If he goes down, they'll go, thanks very much. See ya.
He does get fouled a lot already, so yeah, you're right.
Nobody does, but be stronger. Be stronger. Anyway, there you go.
Tarkowski or Cody need to have a word then. Yeah.
One of them, I'm sure that's
both.
Yeah. There you go. Another disappointing defeat. Big game Saturday now against Crystal Palace. We're continuing on. Premier, if you're a Premier member, you'll be able to watch us in a minute. If not, the link is in the description. QR code will be on the screen. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Take care.